video, we're going to be looking at using some designs from Canva and creating things to put those into myViewboard to use with our ViewSonic boards. So to start, I would highly recommend pausing this video right now. If you have not watched our bulk create videos for Canva, these are going to be really helpful for creating some of the content that I'm going to look at today. So I will let you know that for this example, this is going to be a lunch count example, but for this example, I used bulk create to create these numbers right here. So these 1 through 30, I used bulk create. So I'm going to kind of dissect this project here just so you can see what this looks like, and then we'll look at some other examples of this. So the first thing is we are easily able to import images into a project, and that's what I've done here with these numbers. So each of these numbers here is just an image that was added to myViewboard. If I want to add other images, let me open up a brand new tab here. So this is a blank tab. If I want to open other images, I can come to File Manager and I can choose to open files. And then just depending on where I have those files stored, I can add those files. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag some files over from my File Explorer, and we're going to see what this process would look like. So I've made some name cards, which could also be made using bulk create in Canva. So I'm just going to copy and drag those over. So you can see I've added all of those name cards here. So there's a couple things. The first thing is these are stacked, and we'll see how to unstack them in just a second. But the next thing I want to do is, after I've imported them, is I actually want to resize them because they are gigantic right now and I'm not going to be able to fit a full class set when they're this big. So using my select tool, I'm going to lasso all of these name cards. I'm going to decrease the size a little bit, and then I can go through and actually separate them. I'm going to separate these quickly just so we can see what this looks like. And I apologize if my coloring is making anybody crazy. These are just the random colors that I picked. So we'll keep going with those. And then the next thing I want to do though is I want to make sure that when my students are moving these, of course, I want to make sure that when my students are moving these, they're not accidentally clicking and dragging them and making them bigger, right? We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to lasso all of them again. And I have this menu that comes up here. So we're going to talk about a few different things in this menu, but one of the things that I like to do is actually click on this down arrow and we're going to choose Movable Lock. Movable Lock. It's not going to keep all of these grouped together, but what it's going to allow me to do is move this name card without having the option. Even if I click on it, I don't really have the option unless I do a few more clicks to change the size of it. So it's not going to accidentally happen. Okay, so import pictures. I'm able to just drag and drop those in from File Explorer. I showed you how to lock the object size, so it's a movable lock still. And then the next thing I would do with this file in particular is I would actually save it as is, because there's a good chance that later on in the year or at some point, I'm gonna want all of these name cards just ready to go, right? So I'm gonna come here to my file manager. I'm gonna choose Save As, and I can do it anywhere. I can do it on my Google Drive if I need to. I can add it to my desktop, wherever. I'm gonna just do it to my desktop for this one, and I'm gonna call it Name Cards. So now, anytime we need name cards, I can add that file in from, in this case, my desktop, so those name cards are available to us. If I want to use these in a different tab or on a different project, I have a blank tab right here. So let's imagine that I have a project where I'm like, oh, I want the students to have their little name cards so that they can move them around. All right, the first thing I'm going to need to do though is lasso all of these, and I want to unlock all of them. So if you remember, all of them were movable, locked. So we just lasso and then unlock them all. Okay, the reason I need to unlock them is because that's the only way that I can copy and paste. If you try and copy and paste while they're that movable lock, it's not going to work. So I'm going to copy. I'm going to come over to my other project, and I can either use Control V, or if I come down here, I can paste. So that paste, you saw it when maybe you saw it when we lassoed it the first time. So lasso, copy, and then those are going to go down here, and it's going to allow me to paste them. And then again, one more time, we're going to lasso these, and then we're going to make them our movable lock. Okay, lasso to movable lock, or lasso to copy and paste. So these are our name cards. We're going to use them in several different areas, but maybe you don't want to use name cards, and that's fine. Maybe we're looking at something like these number ones. Okay, so let's look at this example. This example is actually used for lunch count. So in this example, I have numbers 1 through 30. I have 3 different options here, and then I have a packed lunch option. So I want to kind of show you what this one it looks like when we actually look at the file. But I do want to let you know that there is a link in our YouTube description that gives you the link to this file. So if you're looking like, hey, I'd really like to use that one, you are able to borrow this and use it for yourself. So with each of these, if I click on any of these, I can change the color of them. And then what I would recommend doing is coming in here and not do a movable lock. I would actually lock all of it. That's going to lock the size and location of these columns. Well, what are these columns used for? If I come down here to my page management, you'll notice that there is a second page. And the second page for this particular project, since it is lunch counts, are the lunch menu options. So you as the teacher, what you would be able to do is say, okay, I know tomorrow is pasta with meat sauce, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to page 1 and paste it, and then we'll just put it right up there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the next 2. So I'm just going to pick some random ones. Chef salad, and then maybe we have one more, and it's going to be our yogurt. Okay, so these are my 3 options, plus the packed lunch as a 4th option for my students for today's lunch. So let me do my lasso. Let me lock all of these so that those are in place for the students. And then when they come into the classroom, they're able to move their numbers into whatever option they've selected for that day. Let me show you one more thing on this example. And that is right now I am kind of off center, right? And I'm zoomed out a little bit. So if I come to the right-hand side here and click zoom to center, it's going to kind of bring everything back up to sort of center, kind of bring it back to where it needs to be in that spot there. So if students accidentally move this, that button there, zoom to center, is going to get them back to that home base. I would say this is a pretty good button to also show your students how to use. Make sure that they have that in there. Let's talk about accidentally moving things. So we already showed you how to lock and unlock certain objects in here. However, there's also this moving that can happen of the page. So this is a problem, right? When does something like this happen? If you notice here on my toolbar, I have an arrow and I have a hand. The hand tool is going to move the page. The arrow tool is going to move an object. So I'm not going to move a page here. I'm going to move an object here. So now I'm able to actually drag those numbers to the categories. So again, this is another good tool that I would maybe let your students know that's the tool that we want to use. The arrow is to move things. The hand is for the whole page. All right, our next example, I want to actually import a PDF. So I have created an activity also in Canva using my bulk create tip. This is, I created daily would you rather slides. So I'm going to take a PDF and I'm going to drag it from my file explorer. So you can see I've got this PDF here. I'm kind of clicking on it and I'm going to drop that in there and it's going to add it to my canvas. Now in this case, it's going to ask, do you want to set it as an object or set it as a background? I want to show you both options. However, I will let you know, this is I'll let you know the secret. The secret is that I always select object and you'll see why. So let's look at setting it as a background and maybe why I wouldn't want to do that. So if I click set it as a background, it is going to be landscape because that's what these slides are like. And then I'm going to say import 18 pages. We'll actually just import not all of these. We probably don't need to import all 18 pages. So I'm just going to import one of the pages. I'm going to set it as the background and click import. So when it comes in, looks fine, right? There's nothing wrong with it. But if I scroll out, I'm just going to scroll out here. What you'll see is when it imports it as a background, it just imports it like an infinite number of times. They just keep coming into that import. It's not great. I don't love that, but if you like that, you're more than welcome to use it. But let's go back and let's import it one more time. And this time I'm going to import it as an object so you can see what that looks like. So I import it as an object and it's landscape. I'm going to choose to import 18 pages. And this time I'm actually going to import all 18 pages and you'll see why in just a second. Those 18 pages are coming through right now and it's bumped me back to page management, page 1. Okay, so I now have this object in here. It is going to automatically lock that object in place, so that's good for me to know. And then I can use those name cards. Let's say I want to use those name cards again and I want to copy, and then I'm going to go back to and I can paste those name cards in there. This might be a little large for there, but I can always resize them if I want to. But that is how I would copy and paste those names in there, and I can add those would you rather slides. The other nice thing with this is if I save this and I name it would you rather, every day I can just pull up that content. We can even save our responses over time. So maybe this isn't a would you rather, maybe it's like a daily calendar and we want it to be a running calendar with students. We can save that and open it each day and it's gonna save that content if I did it save as before I exited from the end of the day. This page management here, I kind of showed you that before, but you're going to see all of those would you rather. So if I'm like, you know what, that's not really the one that I want to do today, I'm going to do this one instead next, then I can rearrange those. This is another file that I will share with you. I'll share the link in our YouTube description. If I don't like any of these, I can always delete them or hide them if I want to do that. But we have all this already set for us. If I am smart, I can copy and paste all of those names or even numbers here on the side. And once I do that, then I can just copy and paste that to every single page in here, and then I've already got them. What if I don't want to do numbers or names? How else could I have students participate in something like this without having to create a number or a name for every single kid? Remember that there are tools down here at the bottom that make it really easy for you to have students participate. So maybe it's something like, hey, I want you to take the marker and I want you to write your initials in whichever vote you have. So I can say, this is my vote here. We could also add shapes in there. There's another tip that I'm going to show you in a little bit that might help you save some time with these shapes, but I could create like a circle, like a little bingo dabber is what I'm imagining, right? And I want all of them to be red. That's my favorite color. And then I'm going to make a movable lock. I can do that. That's fine. And then we'll look at a tip on how to create a bunch of these little red dots so that students would be able to vote on this. So you don't necessarily need to have the names or the numbers. You can always use the marker or you can use the shapes, especially if you're wanting to get students actively participating in some of these tools that we have down here at the bottom. Okay, let's look at our last example. So in my last example, I've created, we're going to imagine this is a fish tank, And I have a background image here, but I actually want to show you what this looked like when it first came in. So I'm going to delete this. And then I'm going to drag this picture in. So this is what it looked like when it first came in here. So not great, right? There's a few things. It's definitely too tiny, especially for these fish over here. That's too small. I can resize it this way, but if I come here to my toolbar on this object, I can say fit to screen. So what that is going to do is it's actually going to make it so that it's much larger, and I'm going to do that first. So I would fit to screen and it's going to make it really big, which is awesome. And then I'll go ahead and just lock that as well. So now I've got my fish, and ideally what would happen is a student would take a fish and put it onto our little fantastic class, which is fun, but right now I only have 7 that students could choose from, and there's only 1 of each. So instead of copying and pasting and putting a bunch of each one, because I don't know what's going to be popular this year, maybe everyone wants to be jellyfish, but instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of these. I'm actually going to select all of them at some point, but I'm going to select this fish here, and I'm going to use this tool, which is drag to copy. So I'm going to select that, drag to copy, and I'm going to do that on a couple of these so we can kind of see what this looks like. So if I drag my crab over, which I did not do that drag to copy, it's just a single crab. Now if I drag this fish over, what we have here is an infinite number of fish. So I can drag as many of them as I want, and the students don't have to worry about getting to the bottom of this. So then they're able to drag those over. When you drag to copy the original fish, it's going to say that size. However, when that fish gets there, they can resize it. So that's just something to note. You can't lock it and have drag to copy. That's not possible. But I would say it's still pretty easy, and you're not going to have a lot of students that are going to be changing the size of those. And if you do, you can always teach them to drag the fish over and then click that lock if you really want them to make sure that their fish doesn't move inside of the fish tank. So that's an easy way to create an activity where students might be sharing some of the things that they're moving over without having to copy and paste a bunch of those things. So if we go back to our previous example where I have my dot, oops, I'm on my circle. If we go back to our previous example where we have our dot and I select that dot, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to unlock it and I'm going to make it a drag to copy dot. So now we're just getting a vote from our students. So it's not, I don't really care who is voting each way. I just want them to vote. And so now they are able to drag those circles over, and there's never going to be an end to this pile of circles that we have here. So those are just some of the ways that you can use Canva bulk create to create some graphics and interactive activities for your students on myViewboard. One last thing I want to show you is once you have access to the activities, whether it be the PDF or the lunch count, you can download them from Google Drive, and then you will open them through that file manager. So if I come here to my file manager, as long as I'm signed in to Google Drive, which I can do down here in the bottom right, as long as I'm signed into Google Drive, it's going to show me all of my folders, and I can search for, in this case, lunch count. So that's that OLF that we saw before, that you'll have the link that's shared with you. So of course, if you have any questions, please let us know. Thanks for watching.